Elon Musk says there are two types of people in this world, writing this on X, that he's a maker, while politicians like Bernie Sanders, who are demanding wealth taxes, are takers, because they don't ever create anything. Elon goes on to say his wealth only increases because he contributes to society by creating valuable products for the public, sending shares of his companies up, and raising his net worth. Steve, this is the foundation of our capitalist society, that we have a system on which individuals create value and things and innovate and continue to innovate. And the danger is the rising class of takers. Mm-hmm.
Well, and this gets to something very important, is you assume as a kid everything just happens in the store. One of the things we learned as youngsters was going to a dairy, finding out how that milk went from a cow to the shelf and all the stuff that goes into it. And in terms of wealth, wealth is not physical things. That's part of it. Most of it is perceived value. And if you create an environment where you devalue those things that create wealth, guess what happens? The wealth goes poof. And that's what Mandani and others just don't understand. It's not like Scrooge McDuck's money bin, where you just go in and scoop up the cash. Cash is a small component. It's people's perceived value. And that's what a lot of kids don't understand. That's one of the good things about summer work, is you go realize what it takes to get that burger out there, what it takes to get the lubricants and that stuff on the shelf.
That's right.
We were talking about kids in the break, and I remember as a young kid, one of my first big financial lessons is, as a kid, you just think you're just taking. You're just taking an allowance that parents give you. You don't really have a big concept of how that money was earned. And we were in line at maybe Taco Bell or something, and a burrito, let's say, was $2. I remember looking at my dad and be like, oh, that's not bad, it's $2. My dad pulled over and he said, no, no, no. That cost me $4 because I had to go to work, earn $4, pay half of it in taxes just to be able to get you a $2 burrito. And it was the first idea where I learned he was a maker, offering me, the taker, something. But it really cemented in my mind the value of that dollar and how much harder you have to work in order after tax to then pay for all the things that the takers like me wanted.
But you weren't entitled to it. And that's the difference. There's always going to be makers and takers, but the takers can exist. They just don't have to be entitled to it, and create this idea that if you make a lot of money and I'm a taker, I'm going to take from you. Normally at the beginning of the year, they come out with two things: the color of the year, which is white, oddly enough, and a word of the year. And the word of the year needs to be meritocracy. And we need to get back into this mindset where meritocracy is actually something that matters. If you show up and you perform, you have to earn the right. You are given the opportunity, you have to earn the right to perform.
You know, all of this, I totally agree with you. None of this is taught in most of the, like, liberal arts, sociology kinds of programs in colleges. None of this language, none of this idea. Everything that's taught in these programs is power structures and who's abused the power structure and how do you create social justice by taking from somebody and giving. So we're totally right on this, but America's youth who are paying for educations in this country are, I would say, majority not getting this lesson in colleges. We have a whole ecosystem in America that's built on, and it's growing, and it's built on taking, and it starts with all these NGOs and all these nonprofits that have mushroomed up over the past many years, and none of them make anything. I mean, we know that, like, Minnesota has shown us this in spades, but that whole ecosystem is huge now. We say, we pat kids on the head for wanting to go work for a nonprofit. I'm not saying all nonprofits are bad, but we think the absence of profit is the thing that makes what you're doing okay. And it's completely the reverse. So if you want to fix this issue, and I think Elon Musk is right, you got to go back to the foundational stuff you're teaching kids in these schools and what professions you're encouraging them to go into, because you ain't going to learn any of this if you go work for the Leering Center in Minnesota.
Joseph Schumpeter, the great economist, said the very success of capitalism will also sow potentially the seeds of destruction as you get more and more of these people who don't have to make but do take. One of the things I'm involved with is doing a series of short biographies of people who made the modern world. My favorite example is Margaret Rudkin, had a sick kid in the 30s, couldn't eat bread, and so she ended up inventing modern whole wheat bread. And it worked, and so she went in the bread business, and she called it Pepperidge Farm, after the farm she lived on.
There you go.
Nice.
Those are the kind of stories abstractions don't work with people. You have to have real life stories.
But these
start with football.
Yep,
What does
we
it
got to
take
jump.
to get on the
We got
football
to go.
field?
Sorry, Steve.
Okay.
Love you. Coming up,
Thank
we
you.
asked you, you